Marriage isn't supposed to feel like a gamble. You build, you trust, you invest years into another person, believing they'll do the same. That's what I thought, until the night I realized Emily wasn't the woman I married. It started with a whisper. Passing by our bedroom, I heard her voice, hushed but urgent. "I just need something exciting again," she murmured into her phone. "We meet at 7. I stopped in my tracks, my heart hammering against my ribs. My wife, my partner of 12 years, was planning something behind my back. Something that needed secrecy. For a moment, I convinced myself I misheard. Maybe she meant an innocent get-together, maybe she was talking to a friend. But deep down, I already knew the truth. That evening, Emily seemed different. Her movements had an energy I hadn't seen in years. Humming as she cooked, smiling at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. A fresh coat of lipstick, a sleek black dress. She looked stunning. For someone else. I sat at the dinner table, gripping my fork tighter than necessary. "Busy day?" I asked, keeping my voice light. She glanced at me briefly before cutting into her steak. Same old, lies. I studied her, searching for any sign of hesitation. Nothing. She was getting better at deceiving me. Later, I found her in front of the mirror, applying mascara with careful precision. "Going somewhere?" I asked casually. She didn't flinch. "Just meeting some friends for drinks." There it was again, her voice, a fraction too light, too rehearsed. A younger version of myself might have confronted her then and there, demanded answers. But I had grown wiser. More calculating. If she wanted excitement, I'd give her something she'd never forget. At exactly 7:15, Emily walked out the door, heels clicking against the wooden floor. My pulse roared in my ears as I followed her minutes later, my breath steady, mind sharp. I trailed her car from a safe distance, careful not to draw attention. She drove with purpose, her hands steady on the wheel. No hesitation. No guilt. My stomach churned as I realized she had done this before. Her car finally pulled into an upscale restaurant, the kind with dim lighting and expensive wines. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. I had taken her there for our anniversary last year. Now, she was here with someone else. I parked across the street, watching as she stepped out, adjusting her dress. She checked her reflection in the car window, smoothing out imaginary creases. A familiar nervous energy surrounded her. Then, he arrived. Tall, well-dressed, the kind of man who oozed confidence. He approached Emily with an easy smile, placing a hand on her waist as he kissed her cheek. I gritted my teeth. She smiled back, her eyes bright with something I hadn't seen in years. Excitement. Lust. My chest tightened. For the next hour, I watched from the shadows. They laughed over dinner, their conversation effortless. He leaned in closer, his hand resting on hers. She didn't pull away. Each moment chipped away at the illusion I had spent years believing in. Emily wasn't the woman I thought she was. But she was about to learn that I wasn't the man she thought I was either. "You said." Sitting in my car, I forced my breathing to steady. The sight of Emily, my wife, gazing at another man with the same affection she once reserved for me sent a bitter taste to the back of my throat. But anger wouldn't serve me. Not yet. I needed to be smart. I watched as she laughed, tilting her head just slightly, the way she did when she was truly enjoying someone's company. Every move, every glance between them twisted a knife deeper into my chest. The man, tall, smooth, well-groomed, wore a charcoal suit that fit perfectly. He carried himself like someone who knew he was desirable. Confident. Calculated. He wasn't just some random guy Emily met by chance. This had been planned. She leaned in, her fingers brushing against his wrist. My stomach lurched. I had seen that touch before. On me. I clenched my jaw, resisting the primal urge to storm inside and drag her out. No. That would be too easy. Too predictable. Emily wanted excitement, adventure, something new. I would make sure she got exactly that. Their dinner lasted an hour. They talked, laughed, shared knowing glances. Occasionally, He reached for her hand across the table, and she let him. When they finished, he paid the bill without hesitation. A gentleman. A snake. Then, they left together. I followed on foot, keeping my distance. The streets were alive with city lights, the air thick with the aroma of food, coffee, and the distant scent of rain. Emily walked beside him, close but not quite touching. They stopped at a small park bench. He leaned toward her, whispering something. She laughed, soft, nervous, excited. My hands curled into fists inside my coat pocket. I moved closer, just enough to hear. "I didn't think you'd actually come," he murmured. "I needed this," she whispered back. Needed. That word shattered something inside me. I returned home before she did. Sitting on our couch, staring at the wedding photo above the fireplace, I waited. The image of us, her in white, me in a black tux, mocked me. What had changed? Was I not enough? Had the years eroded something essential between us? Or had she always been this woman, waiting for the thrill of something new? I heard her key in the lock. My pulse spiked, but I remained composed. The door opened, and Emily stepped inside, her heels clicking against the floor. She was smiling to herself, lost in whatever fantasy she had built with that man. Then, she saw me. Her breath caught. "Oh," she said, forcing a casual tone. "You're up." I met her gaze. "Couldn't sleep." She hesitated. "Work stress." "Work." She thought I was oblivious. I forced a smile. "Something like that." She nodded, removing her coat. I smelled his cologne on her. A scent that wasn't mine. It took everything in me to stay calm. "How was your night?" I asked. Emily hesitated for a fraction of a second before answering. "Good. Just the girls and me catching up." Another lie. Another crack in the foundation. I smiled. "Glad to hear it." She relaxed, fooled by my indifference. Let her think she had the upper hand. For now. Morning arrived, yet the weight in my chest hadn't lifted. Emily hummed softly as she poured coffee, acting as if last night had been nothing more than another ordinary evening. She kissed my cheek before heading to work, her lips brushing my skin as if she weren't carrying the scent of another man. I let her leave without a word. She thought I was clueless. She had no idea I was already planning my next move. The day was spent gathering information. Emily had always been careful, but she underestimated me. A few discreet inquiries, some well-placed calls, and I had my answer. Daniel Carter. A businessman. A known flirt. And a man with a very specific pattern, married women. This wasn't random. He was a predator, feeding on the weaknesses of women bored with their marriages. My wife had become one of his many amusements. But what neither of them realized was that they were now mine. That evening, Emily tried to test the waters. "Let's order in tonight," I suggested casually. "Chinese." Her reaction was subtle but telling. A flicker of hesitation, the briefest glance at her phone. "Oh. I actually made plans with the girls again. I forgot to tell you." Another lie. I smiled, nodding as if I believed her. "Of course. Have fun." Relief flickered across her face. She thought she had me fooled. I followed her again. This time, they met at a boutique hotel, a place known for its discretion. My stomach churned as I watched her enter the lobby, her steps confident, her anticipation obvious. I didn't go inside. Instead, I pulled out my phone and made my next move. The first strike. I hired a professional photographer. Discretion was key. Within an hour, I had photos. Clear, undeniable evidence. Emily, smiling up at Daniel. Daniel, his hand resting at the small of her back. The two of them entering an elevator together. Perfect. That night, Emily returned home late. Her hair slightly tousled, her lipstick smudged. She smiled sleepily at me. "Long night?" I asked. She nodded. "Yeah." We talked for hours. I almost laughed at the irony. But I wasn't ready yet. Tomorrow, she would know what it felt like to be blindsided. The next morning, I woke before Emily. She slept soundly beside me, oblivious to the storm she had unknowingly invited into our home. I watched her for a moment, wondering if she ever felt guilt. If there was even a flicker of hesitation before she betrayed me. No. If there had been, she wouldn't have done it again. I slipped out of bed and prepared for the day. By the time she woke up, I was already downstairs, sipping coffee, my phone resting beside me, the weapon of choice for what was about to come. Emily walked in, stretching, her silk robe tied loosely around her waist. She smiled. "Morning." I smiled back. "Morning, beautiful." She had no idea. I waited until she sat down with her coffee before I spoke. "I have a surprise for you." Her eyes lit up, the way they used to when I planned date nights or anniversary trip. "Oh." I slid my phone across the table. "I wanted you to see something." She picked it up, confusion flickering across her face. Then she swiped to the next photo. And the next. Her breath caught. Her grip tightened around the phone. Then, silence. I leaned back in my chair, watching her expression shift. Shock, fear, realization. "Tell me, Emily," I said calmly. "Did the girls enjoy their night out as much as you did?" She opened her mouth, but no words came. She knew there was no excuse. No lie that could erase what she was looking at. Her voice cracked. "I can explain." I held up a hand. "Don't." Tears welled in her eyes. "It wasn't what it looked like." I laughed. "It looked like you walked into a hotel with another man. Did you go inside to discuss the weather?" Her lip trembled. "It was a mistake." "Which part?" I asked. "Getting caught." She inhaled sharply, panic settling in. "I love you." "Love?" I echoed, shaking my head. "You don't cheat on someone you love, Emily. You cheat because you want something else. Something you think I can't give you." She reached for my hand. I pulled away. "Did you ever stop to think," I continued, my voice steady, "that maybe I was bored too?" Her brows knitted together. "What?" I stood, pulling out a manila envelope and sliding it onto the table. "Since you were out having your little adventures, I thought I'd have one of my own." She hesitated before opening it. Inside was a stack of printed emails, messages, receipt. Evidence. She flipped through them, eyes widening. "What is this?" "My way out," I said simply. Her breath came faster. You filed for divorce?" I met her gaze, unflinching. "Not just that. I already spoke with a lawyer. Since you were unfaithful, you lose everything in the settlement." Her face paled. "No. That's not fair. We can work through this." I cut her off with a quiet chuckle. "We? There is no we anymore, Emily. You wanted excitement, an escape. Well, now you're free." Tears spilled over. "I don't want to lose you." I leaned in, lowering my voice. "You already did." She sobbed, but I felt nothing. I had mourned our marriage the moment she walked into that restaurant with him. Now I was simply walking away from the wreckage. As I left the room, I felt lighter than I had in years. Emily wanted a new life. She was about to get exactly that.